Join us every week for coaching and Q&A. You'll learn how to get more listings signed and sold following the simple and fun EZ listing method. Plus, find hidden gem tips and get motivated as you surround yourself with like-minded peers in this weekly mastermind. Let's jump in.
We're waiting for a couple more people. I know there's supposed to be a couple more coming on board. What do you guys, who's been on the last 4 trainings? And who's watched the last 4 trainings? Mike, Nikolai? Cynthia, you have?
No, I missed the last 2, Robert.
You know that you guys know you can go watch them on in the portal, right?
Yep.
Yes. And you guys are very good about emailing and reminding us too. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Kat. Michelle.
Yeah, thank you, Kat.
That's all, Kat.
Greg, Joy,
Oh.
whoever's doing it. So I would highly recommend you guys go back, and I've even watched the last 3 Mondays and the last 3 Tuesdays. I have watched them multiple times just to keep my mind rejuvenated and keep it going. Working deals. What can we do even more? What can we do stuff that is better to get better results than we're getting right now? And so it's every time I watch, I'm just going, wow, some dynamic stuff. So how about if we talk about wins or losses this last week? Anybody want to raise their hands and divulge how it's going?
Can I just have a question. You know, we've only done one EZ real estate platform deal, and we got a lot of resistance with the buyers having to pay the buyer's premium, and I'm sure you've covered this already. And then it turned out that we wound up having the deal go traditional, and the seller was actually, I don't want to say not too smart, but he took a deal that was not to his advantage as much as if we would have done it with the EZ platform. You know what I mean? He wound up paying both sides himself. The deal that he had, where we had the upcharge for on the buyer's side, he turned down, but he was somebody that was not too whatever. But anyway, how do you combat the agents who are resistant to the buyer's premium?
So the first thing is that I tell everybody, you don't waltz in. Even I think we've got phenomenal training right now. Mm-hmm. You don't ever waltz in knowing how to talk to agents. Mm-hmm. And on the first one. The other thing is too, if you haven't gone through the new mass training, you haven't gone back through the training portal, I'd come back into there, because right now it's what's in it for the buyers. You got to be able to explain to them why is a seller making you use this? And guess why it's the easiest time to ever sell it before? Because the NAR settlement. Mm-hmm. My seller doesn't want any complications, and he wants everything to be transparent. He's lowered the price down to cover the commission for you, the buyer's premium. And not only that, we can utilize the buyer's premium and get, make sure that you're Mr. Buyer's agent, you're getting paid full. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm going to come back to it, and I've said this since the NAR settlement. By the end of the year, I do not believe sellers will be able to pay a buyer's commission. Mm-hmm. If you're watching and you're staying up with the trends and you're watching Inman, you're watching the legal articles that are coming out about, there's another lawsuit that just happened last week with 4 real, for the big companies, that they're still running like the Wild West. They're making their sellers pay buyers agents commissions, and you're making them pay more than they feel comfortable with. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's getting gross. Mm-hmm. Out there. All right. So any wins and losses? Mike, Nikolai, why don't you talk about what you did with your list when not everybody's on?
All right. Well, it was, again, the views were amazing, but what we did was we raised the price to what the seller wanted to net, which was $400,000, instead of shocking the system and having it down at 350 where we had it. So we had to figure out a way to shock the system differently. which is what happened when we put the 10% buyer's premium in, saying, hey, you're going to get 4% back, Mr. Buyer, and you can do with it what you want. And at the same time, if you needed that as a concession, as a second, we're willing to do that over 5 years. So by, basically pricing the house about $30,000 below what the market value is, and at 400, because it should be selling about 430, and offering to carry the 10% buyer's premium from the seller, we're shocking the market that way instead of with the price. So I've gotten, another 1,000 views on Zillow since I did that, and another 150 saves since I did that. I've been getting a ton of phone calls, asking me what the heck is going on. So I think it's just shocking the system differently than what we were doing with the price. So I haven't, I've got one pre-qual in. I've got a whole bunch of people that I need to follow up with later on today, but I think it's going to work. I do.
All right, so I wanted to go back and show everybody because we got a few new people on. So this is Mike's home in Arizona, and Florida and Arizona. I don't care what state you go to by utilizing our strategy here, but I want everybody to take a look at his views and saves. Does everybody see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's go see what everybody else is doing that's listing it traditional. All right, so that's his home. Let's see. Let's go into his neighbor's backyard. 101 days versus 21 days, 664 views, 43 saves.
Yeah, do that one for 400 just above there.
Here's another one, 34 days, 416, 21 saves. I mean, the first thing you notice about this, look at all these listings right around his neighborhood. Isn't yours the 400, Michael?
No, that's the one across the street.
Not
So
yours.
that's mine. There should be one right. Yeah, if you zoom in a little bit,
60,
there's another
430.
400 right across the street.
All right. There's one at 430, a 1695, and 34 days, 97 saves. And then we'll try to find his one more. Oops, wrong way.
Yeah, go straight up. Oh, nope, it's there.
Where? There's this
Yep.
one.
Yeah,
That's
right
yours.
underneath it. Right underneath it. There you go. Yep, 399. That one.
743 and 47 saves, 51 on Zillow.
10 times the views.
So what we tell people, because like I say, every time when I get a phone call from somebody, and the first thing say, I put it on the site didn't work, yada yada yada, and I pulled it off after 7 days, and then because if I do personal training with you, first thing I'm going to say, did you do an open house? Most time they'll say, no, I didn't. Okay. Second of all, how'd you price it? Okay, I priced it okay. I priced it, enough to be under. And then the third question is, I actually will take them into Zillow and start taking a look and bouncing around their places. And I don't care where, what city, what nation, because we do this every week that I go into, we're always getting 100 times the showings and 100 times the saves in way less time. You guys have to look at this thing now that you are putting this on. We're not in a seller's market anymore. Yeah, the thing we could put it on Thursday, be in contract on Tuesday, but it's got to be the right home. It's got to be in the right neighborhood, and you have to know it's going to bring 100 people in, like our home did on Columbus Day. Okay, but the objective of the platform is that our goal is to get it selling half the time as anybody else. So the days of running your 5 days and pulling it off the market, we had a guy 2 weeks ago, in fact, our hottest guy, he was doing a 7 day and going to pull it off. We went through Zillow and looked at his saves and looks. It's like, well, why would you do that? you're 100 times more than anybody else. You go ahead and just put it back traditional, you're going to kill all the momentum that you have going. That's why you got to utilize the buyer's premium. You got to get smart about what you're doing. As a company, we are coming out with the buy now button. And when it's been on for 2 weeks, you can actually put that buy now button with the terms on there that they can go in and just buy it. I don't want to put it on within 2 weeks, because if you get a home priced right, you have 100 people at the open house, I don't want it to limit what that purchase price could be. Okay. So there are things coming out, but look at Mike, utilizing his, I got to believe, Mike, that you did this because of the trainings we have.
Absolutely. And again, I'll reiterate it. Within the last 2 days, I've gotten more views and likes than all of those other houses that we looked at, in the 2 months that they've been on.
Yeah.
So it's working.
You know what the best thing is? We talked to Mike, several of us talked to Mike before he had that meeting with the seller. It sounds to me like the seller bought into the process now and will actually work with them on getting this thing sold. And he wasn't doing that out of the gate.
Yeah, no, he is very much he thinks it's brilliant.
Yeah. So anyway, so you've got to utilize the gifts here that God has given you. You got to be smart about it. You need to keep coming to these trainings, because as a community, we're getting better and better and better and better. We've had some homes go into contract that would have never gone into contract without this community. And that's a really cool thing to say. That's happening. So thanks, Michael. Any other wins and losses? Ooh, it's going to be an easy one today.
I want to share something, Robert. I had some, losses, wins and losses, because I've been making some phone calls, and I prepared a frequently asked questions, because, for me to send them. So I'm getting some good response. I'm getting closer to a listing, meaning what I mean by that is I'm not getting shut down as quickly, because people are listening to what I have to say. So I just got to keep being on the phones and delivering this message. But what the challenge for me is getting them to see a different way to market their home. That's the challenge of me showing them the new way, because they're so stuck in the traditional way. And I'm showing like, well, here's a new way. So that's, and I think as I keep explaining it, I'm going to get them on board. Kind of how Mike got his seller on board. So it's happening, but you have to keep the conversation. It's not going to be maybe one conversation. That's my experience. Maybe 2 or 3, but it's happening. And I did get a positive feedback from one seller that I spoke to, saying that, he's going to keep trying it on his own. And if not, they're going to list with me. So.
Beautiful.
One of the things that Robert used previously is it's not a new way, because we're still using a traditional, but it's an upgrade. And that's a little bit of a different way to approach it that I think people are, at least on my side, accepting a little bit more than, this is a new way of thing. Because nobody wants to be the first to do a new thing. But an upgrade, well, maybe so.
You're right, a redefined way. You're right. It's really using the word not new, but this is a redefined way to market your home. Yeah, upgrade, absolutely. Yeah, great point, Mike.
Even another way to look at this too. I mean, if you look at what we brought into the community in the last 3 months, I mean, we are now a full real estate investment company. We can do cash now offers. We can do novations. We can do subject twos. We have more ways to purchase and help sellers get their home sold than any other real estate company around. Yeah, I'm working on some advertising, and one of the things I put, we're the all-in-one real estate shop now. We combine everything together. So if Michael would have had more problems and his buyer not got on board with them, because he brought up some problems last week with the home, goofy color walls, outdated tile, outdated flooring, right, Michael? And a couple other things. So as a community, what would you guys advise us being real estate investors, maybe that's a good one to go and work out something with the seller and innovation and be a partnership. The seller doesn't obviously want to put money into the home, probably doesn't have it. So if we come in there and we get the walls painted right, we get the flooring redone for a minimal amount. So we have these processes available to your sellers as well. Instead of them getting to a point of no return, they're going to get the home sold through us because we have so many different ways to attack it. We're multi-dimensional, a company, and it's kind of fun watching the stuff that's happening at a rapid pace. It's good. Thanks, Cynthia. Cynthia, do you want to share what you're asking the sellers when you're calling them?
Sure. Hold on. Let me get my exact script so I can tell you what I'm exactly saying. Yeah. So if it's a for sale by owner or expired, I'm just acknowledging that they're either for sale by owner or an expired. And I tell them the reason why I'm calling is to quickly share the 0%, hold on. The reason for my call is to quickly share our 0% commission program where the buyer covers the agent's fees, not you. And we handle everything from listing to the closing. You know, may I have 45 seconds to explain how it works and see if it might be a good fit for you to sell your property. There's my speech. And then we talk a little bit more and then they're open the conversation. One feedback. So what I'm saying is basically, would you be open to hear? No, not would you be open. I'm telling them, I'm calling them to share the 0% commission program with them. And I'm asking them permission to have 45 seconds to share the program with them. And in that 45 seconds, I tell them about the program, you know, how we market the property. So that's what's expireds and for sale by owners. One for sale by owner said, you are, you know, he was about to shut me down because he says, you know, I get a ton of calls. He goes, but you said something different. And that's the one that said that will list with me. After, you know, he's going to try it again on his own. And I said, okay, go ahead, no problem. And I, you know, and I'll call him again next week. But that's the one he said, he goes, you know what? Everybody says the same thing they want to list. He goes, but you said something different. And so we're saying that, you know, you got to say something different, not, you know, and that's where, you know, I'd like to share with you our 0% commission program on how, you know, the agents, I mean, not the agents, the buyers have the opportunity to pay the commission opposed to you paying the commission. And so right there, that grabs them because it's like, well, what, you know, it's all about commission, right? So it's like, well, wait a minute. So the buyers can pay the commission. Yeah, there's an option where the buyers can pay the commission. I would love to discuss that more with you. You know, may have 45 seconds of your time to tell you briefly how this goes. And if it's a good fit, you know, we can make an appointment and I'll go over it more in detail how we can structure it for your property.
That's awesome, Cynthia. Thank you. Well, who else has some questions?
I like that, Cynthia. It was very short, concise, and I just copied it down.
Bob has a question. I was wondering if you recommend having practice sessions for the open house so it runs smoothly where we do get more people registered during that open house.
Well, that's a good question. I'm sure are you going into the Facebook community and asking if anybody would want to get together with you on that?
I think that's a good idea. There's several people down in Naples. I was going to get with them and try to have a little group, you know, to practice so we, you know, look professional when we're at that open house and isn't like we're doing it for the first time.
Yeah, we've got a lot of tips and tricks inside the training portal, sign-up sheets, QR codes that you can put on so people know how to make an offer. You know about all that stuff, right, Bob?
Right. I've looked at that. It does look good. Yes.
So yeah, I'd put it in the Facebook group and see. This is somebody asking a question, or it sounds maybe noise. Kenneth Collins, what do you got to say? You back in biz? There he is. Here he comes. Uh-oh, what happened to you? You're muted. You're muted, Kenneth. He probably tried to do a traditional sales with his seller. And they beat him up. Kenneth, you're muted.
This is what I was saying. I'm doing the cyclops. I'm doing the practicing my cyclops
What
it's tied
happened?
now. No, I just had an operation on both of my eyes, and I'm out of commission for a couple of weeks. But anyway, let me go back to hiding my face.
Successful?
Anyway, in a relationship to the first thing that you said, Robert, I've always used reverse prospecting because I've always wanted to know what other realtors were thinking about the properties that I have listed, especially engaging them about, what's going on, what is your buyer like, et cetera, et cetera. Do you want to have a look at the property? So in my presentation of the Easy platform, which I haven't had, I am having the absolute, this is the worst. I've never had this happen to me before. I'm trying to get my website up and running, and I've gone through 3 different vendors, and it is a task that I've spent money hand over fist, and I'm just having the craziest time. But anyway, if I engage someone very simple too. I simply say, I'd like to introduce you to this Easy platform. It is something different. It is innovative. It is transparent. It's ready to go. Mr. Seller, give me a few minutes to explain this to you. I'm quite sure if you can see it in action, I believe that there's no way you can deny selling your home for 0%. 0%. It'll help you. It'll help the buyers that are seeking the information. And the most important thing, besides being transparent, it will also allow only the qualified buyers to come into the open house. Only the qualified buyers that are going to put in a legitimate offer for your property. Give me a few minutes to come over and let me show you how this works. And if you don't like it, all we've wasted is a few minutes. How about that?
Very good.
And that's it. I would not get into any protracted explanations. What I'm trying to set up on my website, and that may be the problem. I may be the problem because I'm asking them to set up the easy links on my website that people can go in and see the process. They can,
That shouldn't be hard.
yeah. Boy, I agree with you. The problem is that I'm going back and forth, and I guess I did not want to go into the thousands of dollars on a website, but because I never spent thousands of dollars. But looks like
at some point in time, we're going to be offering that service. It's Brett Parcell, who is the broker, designated broker of this, the Easy Real Estate platform. He and I have gone through fits with getting websites built and promises. Every time you turn around, something changes, expensive. And so at some point when we get our stuff done, we will be offering that to you guys, and hopefully with a proven method. I want to come back and revisit, since we're lagging in time, not coming up with anything. So one of the things when we did the reverse prospecting last week, the training, and a lot of you weren't on it, probably did not go back and even watch the video on it. But when you first of all, does everybody know what reverse prospecting is? Everybody should that was on the training now, but is there anybody that doesn't know what it is? If you don't know, raise your hand. Cool. All right. So remember when we went through our reverse prospecting training, you want to include the reference number inside of that message that you're sending in. But I'm going to go one at a time, and I'm going to start with my studs. What is a message that you could send regarding a buyer's premium when you reverse prospect out? For all of you that are having problems explaining to agents what good a buyer's premium can do, when you can take 3% and turn it back around and give it to your buyer, do you think the buyer's agent would actually love that? Because why aren't homes selling? Why are we in a strong buyer's market right now? Because of interest rates, right? We all know that. We're not dumb on there. So, Mike, Nikolai, I'm going to start with you because you already kind of did one with. Did you do the reverse prospecting and send that out about the buyer's premium, Michael? I guess he's gone. Has anybody done reverse prospecting since our training?
I have.
Okay, did you put something down about a buyer's premium, or are they not on the platform?
They're not on the platform.
Okay. Michael, did you do reverse prospecting when you guys bumped the buyer's premium up?
No, I'm going to do that today.
So tell me what your message is going to be today.
How can we help your buyer close a deal? We have a way to do that. We're very flexible. Give me a call. Something very simple like that.
Let's help Mike with his message. Michael Graham, what would you put?
Good morning. What would I put in reverse prospecting on a message or a voice to voice?
Yeah, help Michael with his reverse prospecting. He's got a 10% buyer's premium,
Okay.
3% to do something for the buyer or buyer's agent. What message would you give on that?
And you haven't gotten any contracts on this property yet, Michael?
No,
But you've gotten a lot of hits on it?
got a lot of hits, got a lot of investor offers that are way low.
Okay. And no owner occupants at a decent price yet?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think voice to voice is the best thing you can do to sell a property. And you could either, when you're reverse prospecting, you could either write a reverse offer. But if you're talking about the buyer premium, I would just say, you know, you could use this to your buyer's advantage so that they can buy their rate down and get a much lower interest rate to be able to buy this house.
Okay, that's one method. Thanks. That's great.
Yeah. And you're buying it under fair market value. So on this last one that I did, I kept hammering the appraisal. I'm like, this thing's going to appraise for like 50 grand more than your buyer's paying for it right now. And he's going to get an extra 3% to buy down his rate. Like, why aren't you guys making an offer? Like, get them to make an offer or somebody else will. Somebody's going to
Awesome.
get this amazing deal. It might as well be your buyer, Mr. Buyer's Agent.
Ooh, I like that. Gabe?
You talking to me?
Yep. What would you do? What would your reverse prospecting message? Help Michael out.
So I would say the same thing. I mean, we've got an extra 4% to use as an advantage for your buyer to go towards, his closing costs, their closing costs, making it more affordable, buying down the rate. We've gotten super creative. So
Okay.
yeah.
Cynthia?
I like those buyer advantage. That's I think that's gonna ring a buyer as far as their audio advantage for the buyer. Buy down. I like buying down the rate. So what else do buyers want? Help with the closing cost? I mean, but what about that? That mentioning, help them with the closing cost. Let us help you. Let us help the buyer with their closing costs. There's mine.
Very good. Terry Ralston?
I don't know. I'm struggling.
Kenneth? Clara?
Well, let's see. So we're talking to the buyer agent, correct?
Yeah, we're
The reverse.
Yes.
Okay, so buyer agent. I have a great opportunity for your buyer, where they'll be able to do a few things with the extra money that being that there'll be no commission. No, I got that wrong.
All right, we got to get you you and you guys back into the training. You and Laura, we're gonna make you studs in this. Michelle DeLorme.
Help your buyer. What does your buyer need? We've got opportunities to help you close this deal now.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Bob Mangino.
How would you like to have 4% for your buyer's renovations?
Martin Matthews. You're muted, Marty.
By the way, Mr. Buyer's Agent, according to the way that this works, you get paid 3%.
Yeah.
You think that might be important to him?
Help your buyer close the deal and get paid what you deserve.
You could even bump it up to 4%. I mean, if you want
Yeah.
to tackle the carrot.
We got all kinds of ways. The Joe Petno method. Bump it up. Joey, I see you posted something in the phone.
I did. I posted in chat kind of what a script that I have used prior, but again, pretty simple. Again, it's just, I have a property that's currently listed below market value. And one of the unique advantages is that we're using a buyer's premium structure. So this allows flexibility and can be directly benefit your clients. So whether that's addressing inspection items, helping with closing costs, or structuring a deal in a way that meets their financing needs. If your buyer has a concern or priority, let's talk. We're open to getting creative ways to make a win-win. This property is already priced competitively, and the buyer's premium gives us a way to tailor the offer and still come to the table strong. So let me know if you want to set up a showing or chat further. I'd love to help your buyer get into a great home and make those numbers work in their favor.
Ooh, it's nice. Greg Bilbro, what's the rule of a buyer's premium?
Always overprice it such that you can't close escrow, and make sure you put as much fraud and RICO charges and abuse into the deal as you possibly can. Come on, guys. Come on.
Now you're making Kat have to edit this thing.
A little sarcasm is not illegal. No, there's two rules the way I think about it. The first is you can't overprice the buyer premium to outprice the house such that it's not marketable, right? If you just overprice it, like if you overprice a house, we all know that that's not good. But if you underprice a house and then you blow the buyer's premium beyond the price of the house that it should sell for, you're flirting with disaster. And the other thing is, because it's not commissions, it's not regulated that way. We're not talking GCI. It's different. So just don't do illegal stuff, but be creative. You can kind of do whatever you want. It's a vessel. It's just a vessel for money. So it's a vessel for money. So just think through that. Be as creative as you want and don't overprice it. Yeah.
Well said, Greg.
Yeah.
Who haven't I called on? Kat, you want to do some input?
Yeah, so this is it's a little off topic, but I would include like a characteristic feature just to hook that buyer and remind them of what property it was that they might have actually been looking at, or the agent, right? Because obviously you're writing to the agents, and the agent might have more than one buyer that ends up being interested in that property. So just to have them remember, if it's the blue house, that might be something that could anchor the agent on what property we're talking about.
Yeah, and don't forget that reference number, because that is the property they're talking about that they commented on. And there. Thank you, Kat. Brett, you want to say anything on that?
No, I think pretty much everything's covered.
All right. Very good. Very good. We don't see Brett around a lot. It's good to see him. Good to hear him. And there. Let's see here. Marty Matthews, you want to answer? You got to unmute yourself when you answer, though.
I really can't answer it.
Okay.
Very
good.
What the car dealerships do, they do the cash back feature. We have a $3,000 cash back as a bonus.
Yeah, that's interesting concept too. Like that.
Yeah, can I touch on that with an idea? And I put it in the chat.
Yes.
Right? So the buyer premium is confusing to everybody, to include myself when I was new to the concept. Like, it took a while for me to wrap my head around and figure out, like, what is this thing that it's distinctly different from commission? It's just a different animal. So it took me a while to really kind of think through it. And I looked it up, and I did Chat GPT, and I said, hey, Chat GPT, what's the difference? And, I think I sent that chart a couple months ago, and they're very different. So we have to assume, in my opinion, that the whole rest of the world, buyers, agents, let's say, they're equally as ignorant as I or you were prior to learning what this thing was, right? We would have to assume that. How could they know? And that delta, I think, is quite large. I mean, when I learned what a buyer premium was, it probably took me a month or two thinking through it before I was like, oh, wow, it's way cooler. Like, I had an epiphany kind of a thing. It wasn't just reading the definition. It was understanding its utility and what sorts of problems you can now address and attack also how you language it, how you package it, etc. So it's just totally different. Commissions are boring. Plus commissions, ooh, who wants to pay commissions? It's already a tainted word, right? So that thing I put in the chat, what I was thinking, and I wouldn't necessarily look at my math because I just asked ChatGPT. I didn't double check it, and who knows if there's mistakes. But I think the concept in the chat, if you see that little screenshot that I did, I kind of thought about buyer premium is confusing, but problem solving is not. Everybody gets problem solving. So it's like, what problem do you have? Well, it's affordability. Okay. And I'm leaning heavily towards affordability because I just think it's the problem. Like, sure, there's other problems, but if I were to throw a dart at what's the biggest problem around, out of 100 buyers, it's like they're bitching about it's expensive to buy. That's what I think is going on for whatever reason. So there's 3 kinds of money I think a buyer needs. They have to pre-qual, which we can't control. So it's like if you make X dollars and have this much in taxes and it, your FICO score, and your pre-qual guy says, your mortgage guy says you can buy 500. Cool. Well, we can't do much with that. Like that's what they bring to the table. Their cash down payment. That's another that's one of the 3. So the list price of the house or what they can buy, and then how many dollars to close. That's a hurdle. And then the monthly PITI. Well, I think with buyer premium, we can't do anything with the 500. In fact, I cannibalize the 500 to kind of address the other 2. And so I think we can get them cash back at close, or we can make lots of prepayments, or we can buy down rates, or we can do all kinds of stuff. And so that's the spirit of that chart. It's sort of the first column was to say, hey, normal 500K mortgage, 7%, blah, 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 blah. There's the numbers. Then I said, what's a 2 on buy down if buyer needs a little bit of assistance, like affordability, 1. What's the problem you're solving? Oh, they're just tight and they love this house, but they're just tight on the monthly. They're right there on the edge. Okay, well, what if I can cut $1,000 off? Will that get them less tight? Okay, so that's cool. And then max affordability, which is all the way on the right, I think it's max affordability. And then where I threw the kitchen sink at everything just to get as much money into the buyer's pocket to buy stuff down so that they can get into the house. So it's like throwing everything. And then the other thing I thought was, and I'm not an MLO, but isn't it true that if I can reduce your monthly cost to your PITI, but you still make good money, can't you just say, hey, I now get to buy a way bigger house? Like I'm pre-qualified for 500, but this says I can now buy a $770,000 house. And if I want a $700,000 house and I just figured out the cash flow because of buyer premium, I think that can be done. So it allows people to step up, I believe, because you solve for that cash flow. They still have to have the down payment and whatever, but so anyways, there's some thoughts. And those are just a couple. There's probably a lot more things because it's all about inventing the problem. What problem are you solving for? And almost everything in real estate, as we know, if you throw money at it, for the most part, it sort of solves the problem. And so if we create money in the buyer premium and then we identify all kinds of problems, which I think is affordability, but there are more. Yeah, you can make it a problem solver, not a confused, weird buyer premium, strange thing.
Bob has a comment.
God, I love.
I think what we should key in on is the famous word greed. Most people are greedy, and I'm thinking what addresses greed more than anything else, and that is cash back. Buy this property and we will give you $10,000 cash back. I don't know whether that's legal or not. It's just something I thought about.
So as we wind down and end this, another fabulous Monday. Greg, thanks. That was really helpful. So all these things, you guys, are you tying these things? Those of you who ask the questions, how do you overcome a buyer's premium? I mean, was that a pretty easy way to solve it? What matters to a buyer and what matters to a buyer's agent? What's in it for them? See you, Kenneth. Get well. What's in it for them? The training that we do, it's having a conversation with everybody. Everybody wants to know, why should my buyer do this? Why should I do this? And you've got more, what Greg just says, 1,000 different ways of selling this, not even selling it. It's the right thing to do for the consumers. It's more transparency. It's letting the buyers do what they want to do to help them out. Maybe they don't like the red walls. All right, so I'm going to get the walls painted. Maybe they don't like the interest rate. I'm going to buy it down. Maybe they want to go on a vacation. Go on a vacation, get the money back, go on a vacation. Down there, but you got to find out what's when you're talking to somebody about a buyer's premium. Remember, out of 2 million agents, 3 million, whatever we're going to end up, I'll say after everything settles down, we'll end up with 10,000 of us. Not really. But 2 million agents is probably what we're going to drop down to if we haven't already dropped down to it. We have 750 members approximately. So you're in the elite top % of listing agents because all the value that we bring you. We've got the platform. We got the buyer's premium that we can utilize to help that buyer out. And let's say the buyer said, hey, I don't need 3%, just lower it down. I just want to pay the 5%, 6%, whatever it is. You've got so many, everything is flexibility, but what's in it for them? And when you're talking to them, being that you're in the elite 99.9%, you need to let them know that you're the expert. And then the best thing you can do is say, hey, you know what? You should get involved with this program too. Because remember, the big picture is taking real estate back, putting it back in the agent's pockets, and not letting these tech companies rule us anymore. You guys are in a very exclusive, elite position by being a part of this program. You're the expert. They're not. If they were I guarantee if they had access to a buyer's premium and all the things to do to help their buyers, they'd absolutely want to be a part of it, and they want more. More. Right? So anyways.
I think it's really quick. I wanted to just mention, I think it's really important because I think someone mentioned it's hard to explain the buyer's premium because I think a lot of times people don't really consider the facts. And the facts are buyers have always been paying commission because they're the ones coming to the table with money. The nice thing about being able to utilize the buyer's premium is exactly what Robert just said, is they now get to choose how they want to use it. So that's the key thing. Buyers have always been paying. So people are like, well, why would my buyers now pay? It's usually the sellers who pay. They're not, the sellers were never paying because they would just raise the price of the house in order to pay for those commissions. So the buyer's always been the one paying for it. It's just now they actually get a choice in how they utilize it. So I think it's really key that people understand that because sometimes people don't, even buyers agents don't even get that. They're like, well, why would my buyer pay? Your buyer's always been paying. They're the one coming to the table with money.
Great stuff. That's why Joy is our trainer. She's much smarter than I am.
Mm-hmm.
Laura, does that make more sense now? Do you think you might be able to explain a little bit? But all this stuff is in the new training. So I'd really highly recommend.
No. It's good. And I'm feverishly taking notes from the chat. So yes.
All right. Good deal. Clara, how about you? Will it make a little more sense?
Yes, it's just listening to everyone from different perspectives. I think it gives me a different mindset and how to look at premiums in different ways and how to verbalize it to buyer agents.
Absolutely. People that have been manipulating the buyer's premium are going into contract.
Mm-hmm.
Those who pull it off of the site and go back traditional, good luck. Why would you stop the momentum that Mike has on that property? I mean, over 8,000 looks, 800 or whatever the saves were. The next closest to him was 1,000 looks and 50 saves. Why would you stop the momentum? So the processes do work. For those of you who are afraid of it, it's the best way to represent your seller and the public. It's better than anything else out there because it's so flexible. There's no hidden agendas. They don't have to worry about highest and best. All of these things, that's what is in it for them, are all the things that you need to get better and better and better and better at. And all of a sudden it clicks in and you end up in contract on a few homes. And the beautiful thing is you've represented all parties better than ever traditional did. Won't be any lawsuits on our side. They don't want to pay the buyer's premium. Guess what? Walk away. Go somewhere else. Choice. We're not making anybody pay anything.
Right.
All right. Anyway, appreciate it. Topic Thursday is going to be info sparks. So that we can start looking at these trends together. Like I say, I was horrified when I looked at Seattle's last week. So anyway, we'll go through that together, and we'll see how we can utilize that in our marketing and when we're out doing a listing presentations. Do you think it'd be smart for sellers to know how long it should take the home to sell? Do you think it might be smart to let them know how much things are depreciating during that time it's going to sell? Should we be ahead of the curve? Remember, there's two ways to list a home nowadays. We're chasing the price down. And for those of you who want to do that, please don't use our platform. And those who want to chase it down. We don't want to be starting at $500,000, end up at $400,000, because what's going to happen when we get our first offer? It's going to be a $300,000. I'd rather start at 300,000 and go up to 500. All right. Anyways, appreciate everybody. Anybody have anything they want to say in closing? All right. It's always good to see you guys. Mike, Nikolai, I'll be watching your home. Let's get that thing done. Get it down to action there. All right. Thanks, everybody. And I'll see you on Thursday. Terry, I'm sorry, Clara and Laura, make sure that you get with Michelle, get the
I have it right now.
orientation, and then let's get them signed up for the master for Wednesday.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody, thanks. Hey, and you guys can go through master training as much as you want, because believe it or not, it evolves too. So, I mean, so anyways, feel free to come on back in if you want. You can come in and out. Those who haven't been master certified, you need to stay the whole time. And also, Laura and Clara, so you know, we have a lead program that once you become master certified, we send you out leads if you want them. 25% referral fee. We touch them twice before they go to you, so they should be good. And they're not going to 5,000 other people. You're not competing.
Okay, thank you.
Just be
Okay,
sending them
great.
to you. All right, everybody. Thanks so much.
Thank you.